Let's talk tips for eating out on a carnivore diet. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Jen, aka Delighted to meet you. I've been carnivore for nearly a year now, and it has helped me immensely with some pretty serious health conditions, namely psoriasis and binge eating disorder. But it's very important to me to be able to eat out and socialize and go on vacations on a carnivore diet, and so I've done just that for the last year. I have different tips depending on the type of restaurant you're at. And really by type, I mean how fancy is it? So if you're at a fancier place that's more expensive, maybe more limited of a menu, they typically have some sort of a la carte meat option to add to like a pasta or a salad, and they will often let you order off that menu. I've done it several times. So for example, if they have the option of adding steak or salmon or bacon or shrimp to your salad or your pasta, if you just ask, they will typically let you order that. I've been to multiple fancy restaurants where the average price of an entree is $40 or $50, and I ended up with a plate full of salmon, shrimp, and bacon for like 20 bucks. It was incredible. If I had known that before I was a carnivore, I probably would have done that then too, just to save some money. Now, if you're going to more of a mid-level restaurant like an Applebee's, let's say, I typically go for a steak or a burger patty just because that's easiest and most places have that. You can get really particular if you want and ask for them to cook it with no seasoning or cook it on a separate grill or something like that. I typically don't. I just take it however they give it to me. Boneless chicken wings are also a really good option, though you do have to be a little careful with that because sometimes they're cooked in oils. So I try to find out from the internet or ask the workers if they know what the chicken is cooked in. So for example, I understand that at Buffalo Wild Wings, they are cooked in tallow. So that's perfect. Now at a diner or a breakfast restaurant, I typically order eggs and bacon, and I ask for my eggs to be either hard-boiled or poached because I know in that case that there's no oils involved, no margarine, nothing like that. But if you're willing to take the chance, something like an omelet or scrambled eggs would be fine. I would suggest asking for them to cook your food in butter, and if they can do that, that's great. I often would include cheese or sour cream or something like that, unless you're sensitive to dairy. I typically avoid things like sausage at restaurants because I know they often have sugar or maple syrup or something like that added, but I usually will go for the bacon. Fast food is probably the easiest because most fast food places have hamburgers, so I just ask for burger patties. Most of these places have all beef burgers, not cooked in any oils or anything like that. Now, if I go to McDonald's, I do ask for no seasoning and then I just add my own salt, but that's just my preference. You can do that however you like. And I don't think it's prudent maybe to have that every single day or even every week. I very rarely have it because I think what I can make at home is healthier and more delicious, frankly. But in a pinch, it's a perfectly fine method. At a buffet, something like at an all-inclusive resort, go for the meat for sure. There's typically a meat carving station, and that's a great place to start. There are often cured meats and cheeses, almost like a charcuterie board type of spread. So I'll go for that sometimes. Boiled eggs are a great choice in that situation. Sometimes just the meat that you would add to a salad or again to pasta. I'd like to say that the omelet station is a good place to go, but almost always they douse that grill with a bunch of seed oil, so I typically do avoid that. But sometimes there's a person just grilling up meat to order, maybe chicken or steaks or short ribs, something like that. So when I see that, that is where I park. Now, when it comes to drinking alcohol, I personally don't on a carnivore diet. What I would suggest and what I do for myself is I just order a sparkling water with some sort of fruit on the rim of the cup just to spice it up a little bit. Honestly, just being able to smell the fruit makes it feel like my drink tastes better and it looks more fun and people just assume you're drinking. So if you care about that, then it's kind of nice to be able to blend in. But typically at a restaurant, I'll just ask for a lime wedge. When I go to somewhere tropical, like an all-inclusive resort, I'll get fancy, like give me an orange wedge and a lime and maybe a pineapple wedge, really just mix it up. It's really fun. It does make it taste different because you're smelling something different. The nice thing is you never have to deal with hangovers anymore when you're just having sparkling water. A couple other tips. One thing, if you just cannot find anything to eat, there's nothing for you. That's happened to me on very, very rare occasions. You also have the option to fast. You don't have to eat. If you go to a wedding, let's say, where the food is pre-plated and you really have no choice, you can sit there with a plate of food and not eat it, or you can just request to not be brought any food. I know that can be awkward, but it's just dependent on your goals. If having these foods that are not carnivore are going to set you back in a big way, like they would for me with my autoimmune condition or my binge eating, it is absolutely not worth it. So the last wedding I went to where the food was pre-plated, I actually just snuck away during the meal, and then I came back when everyone was finished eating. Regardless of where you're going to eat out, if you don't know pretty confidently that you're going to be able to get enough food, I'd suggest eating something before you go. I don't know how many dates I've been on, especially first dates, where I had a ribeye before the date because I wasn't sure what I'd be able to get at the restaurant or even what restaurant we'd be going to. You can also bring something with you in your bag, in your purse, whatever. Sometimes people bring what they call purse bacon, or you could bring something like pemmican or beef jerky that you could snack on at the table, or you could sneak away to the bathroom. I mean, there's always something you can do. And again, not eating at all is an option. You can just order a sparkling water and sip on that and enjoy the company. You don't have to make bad choices when it comes to food if you don't want to. Okay, that wraps up my tips on eating out as a carnivore. I'd love to hear in the comments what you think about these. Have you tried any of these? Do you have any additional tips? If you liked this, subscribe and follow me, and you will see a lot more of this coming up. You can also find me on Instagram or TikTok. My name is Delighted to Meet You, MEAT. I look forward to connecting with you.